NoDQ.com.
Greetings to everyone out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to a NoDQ video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel, youtube.com/AaronRiftNoDQ. I have your questions from twitter.com/AaronRift using the hashtag NoDQturns20. Let's go ahead and get started today. First one comes from Oscar. Now that Batista is set to make an appearance at Smackdown 1000, what other big names would you like to see on that show as well? Of course, I would like to see the Rated R Superstar Edge. WWE has already announced several names. I would like there to be at least one big surprise. And since WWE really doesn't care about ratings much these days, why not do that? Why not have one surprise on this show that you do not announce in advance? Now, of course, the biggest name is The Rock. The Rock was on the first Smackdown. The show was named after his catchphrase. It's only fitting that The Rock shows up. Will he actually be there in the arena? That remains to be seen. Who knows what his schedule will allow? We could just end up seeing a video package. That would be my guess, is that The Rock will have some kind of message to the WWE fans on the big screen, and that's going to be his contribution to SmackDown 1000. But that would be awesome if he showed up unannounced as a big surprise when nobody was expecting it. That is something I would love to see. And I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I think it would be pretty cool. Got this one here from Garrett Mills. With SmackDown going to Fox next year, do you see Fox wanting a little less PG rating? I have no idea how that is going to work. My feeling is that Fox wants SmackDown as it is. Part of the deal, I believe, was the fact that WWE does appeal to all sorts of different people, whether it's older people or younger people or men or women. WWE is trying to broaden its audience and be more accepted in the mainstream. And I think that's what Fox wants. Fox wants something that's going to have a lot of appeal from all sorts of different walks of life. I think that's what everybody wants at this point. They don't want to alienate certain fans. We are in the politically correct era of WWE. I doubt anything's going to change. I think from both sides, both WWE and Fox, I think it's going to be more or less the same brand, the same way it has been for the past several years. Got this one here from It's the Costanza. Due to the recent out-of-character Undertaker interview, do you think it's finally the sign of his first door open to his real-life retirement? It's possible. It is something we don't see when The Undertaker goes out of character, but the real sign that he is officially done is when he goes into the Hall of Fame and he goes out there, not in character as The Undertaker, but as Mark Calaway. To me, that is the real end of his career. He has always made a big deal out of not appearing on WWE television out of character. For him to show up at the Hall of Fame and just talk about his career, to me, that is the sign that he's done. He could do interviews here and there with his priest or whatever. Doesn't necessarily mean he's completely done. Maybe he feels it's getting closer to that point, and that's why he's okay with these interviews going up on YouTube and whatnot. But I would say that the real sign is when he does the Hall of Fame speech as Mark Calaway. Got this one here from Clayton. Why do wrestlers openly hate the, quote, internet fans when they surely know most fans are on the internet at this point? It seems like they're asking fans to stop watching in many cases. Times have changed. Before, a certain group of fans would be referred to as the internet fans or the smart fans. It was always a way to address the smart fans who would go on websites and read the dirt sheets. Now you have more people that have access to that information. And I think the resentment from the talent is when fans start acting like they know more about the industry than the actual people in the industry. That's what grinds their gears. Of course, I think sometimes fans can make very valid points. Sometimes the criticism is completely unwarranted. I've always said that WWE and other wrestling promotions and all the talents should listen to constructive feedback from the fan base, especially when people provide constructive feedback. But there are times when there are fans out there that are just looking to troll or really do think that they know everything and they can tell the wrestlers how to do their jobs. So yeah, there's definitely a balance with that. You want to listen to criticism, but at the same time, you don't want somebody who doesn't know what the situation is like telling you what you're doing wrong and how you should do it better. This one comes from Mr. Yuck. Would it be cool to see Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, and Bray Wyatt join forces and break kayfabe while acknowledging their multi-generational heritage? What else can be done as they are still under contract? Interesting question. I would like to see, and I have said this for a while, I would like to see Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt form a real faction together, drop the Bo Dallas goofball gimmick, give him a serious edge. Curtis Axel, he's actually pushing 40, believe it or not, and I don't know how many years he's going to have as a headliner in WWE. It might be too late for him, unfortunately, to get a second chance or a third chance, however you want to look at it at this point, considering the B team was like a little mini resurgence in his career. But Bo Dallas, I think him and Bray Wyatt, you repackage Bo, it gives something Bray to do. Bray is still able to be repaired as far as I'm concerned as a character, and give them a dark, sinister edge. Yeah, you can acknowledge them as brothers, although I'm not sure they're going to outright say, oh, by the way, these are the kids of IRS. I don't know about that, but they might be acknowledged on television as brothers at some point. I would not rule that out. I would like to see it personally, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Got this one here from YNILXODMC. First time on video. Trish and Lita were both great. Do you think that one was better as a heel and the other was better as a face, especially against each other? I think Trish was overall better doing both roles. I think of some of the classic encounters between Trish and Lita, and most of the most memorable moments for me, Trish was the heel and Lita was the baby face. Lita was very likable with Team Extreme, and what got her to that level as a heel wasn't so much the script or what was being done on television, but rather what happened in real life with the triangle, the love triangle between her, Edge, and Matt Hardy that happened in real life, and that caused fans to turn on her, and she just became a heel at that point, and it worked out for her. Her and Edge had that chemistry on television, and she became an effective heel. But I think overall, I would give the edge to Trish as far as being a better heel goes, and I maybe would give Lita the edge for being a babyface when you look at her stuff with the Hardys. This one comes from Aaron Lewis. Do you think WWE should put more emphasis on helping superstars develop catchphrases, as during the Attitude Era it helped guys like The Rock and Jericho get them over by having a bunch of them? Nowadays, stars only get one if that catches on if they're lucky. Well, in order to find a catchphrase, you need to have it develop organically. And for that to happen, you need to not be scripted. That's part of the problem right now, is that everything is so scripted and manufactured that it's hard to come up with natural catchphrases that somebody goes out there, they're being creative, they think outside the box, they say something and it catches on and it becomes a catchphrase. Now, when it's line for line, it's just what the writers are giving the talent, and the talent don't really have those opportunities to be creative and come up with something interesting that might catch on. So that's really the big problem now. You look at The Rock. The Rock was just oozing with charisma and creativity, just being able to come up with all sorts of different lines, and not all of them worked, but a lot of them did. And same thing with Jericho. He was able to go out there and do his own thing, and naturally some of the stuff he would say would catch on with the audience. This one comes from Vincent. Hey Aaron, what's your opinion on TLC-S, Tables, Ladders, Chairs, and Stairs in 2014 instead of the original TLC? The original TLC, Tender Loving Care. I think it was overkill. And I remember, thanks a lot, by the way, for making me remember this. I had put this in the back of my mind, that Big Show Rowan Stairs match. Just a complete waste of time and an unnecessary addition, and I'm glad WWE dropped that after that 1 year. That was not pretty. That was memorable for the wrong reasons, and I actually did somewhat forget about it, but of course you had to bring it up. Wasn't a fan of it. Definitely was not a fan, and clearly I wasn't the only one, because WWE did not go back to doing that concept again. Got this one here from The Forgotten One. Hi Aaron, I hope all is great. How come WWE never redesigned the World Heavyweight title belt when WWE belt went through multiple designs? Knowing that Vince always changed anything in WCW, in his own version, the big belt always stayed the same. Interesting question. I'm not sure I could answer that. Really, I think the only person that could answer that is Vince McMahon. Whatever was going through his mind, I know the buck stops with Vince. Maybe some people convinced him, hey, this belt has a lot of heritage, and maybe the idea was that that belt, because of the prestige and the heritage of it, that it was selling a lot of replicas. Again, I don't know the numbers, but if I'm guessing here, I would say the big gold belt probably sold a lot of replicas, and we know how WWE is. If something is selling a lot, then they like to stick with what they have and not change things up. But then again, like you said, they did change some of the WWE title designs over the years, but they've had them for a long period of time. I mean, the World Heavyweight title would be around for a while, and then it disappeared, and then it was brought back again. It definitely had its different periods of when it was inactive. Maybe if it was around consistently for over a decade, Vince would say, hey, you know what? We need to finally change this up. Got this one here from Ivan. Hey, Aaron, love what you do. Thank you for that, Ivan. When Seth Rollins first turned on the Shield back in 2014, nobody saw it coming. Why do you think it makes sense for this particular turn with Dean Ambrose to know it's coming? I like the idea of foreshadowing and making it a little bit obvious of where the direction is going if it's done well and you have proper storytelling that keeps you invested as a viewer. Look at Hogan and Savage. You knew the mega powers were eventually going to explode. The seeds were planted. You saw Randy Savage starting to get jealous, and it developed over a long period of time. You knew something was going to happen there. And you look at Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, the Rockers breaking up. It was a slow process. You started to see issues between them. Shawn getting frustrated with Marty. You knew something was going to happen, and eventually Shawn was going to snap. That is something that can be effective if the storytelling is done the correct way. So I don't have a problem if WWE was basically giving away the idea that Dean Ambrose is going to turn instead of making it a shock. However, my issue with the whole thing is that WWE usually does the opposite of what they tease these days. Dean Ambrose going out there and the tease that he's going to turn, I think it's just something to try to get people interested in Super Showdown and nothing more. I don't think it is part of a long-term effort to turn him heel. Now, he could very well turn heel at some point, but I don't think that's what this whole storyline is being designed to do. I don't think it's planting the seeds for a heel turn. I think it's WWE just trying to get some kind of interest in the storyline and create some sort of doubt that the Shield might lose at Super Showdown. That will wrap things up for this edition of No DQ Video. Thank you as always for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, please do me a favor and share this video on Facebook, Twitter, any social media site, any wrestling site, any forum you go on, any message board. Tell your friends, tell your family. Word of mouth really goes a long way. Check out NoDQ.com for the very latest fallout from the Super Showdown pay-per-view. And on that note, I will see you guys next time for more.